Build number 6. Bertie C. Ventura's rusty old bug is coming for a makeover.
Podcast Dragon.
Hey there everybody, welcome back to Diecast Dragor for this, my 6th car build. It's for a friend of mine whose racer alias is Bertie C. Ventura. So, Mr. Ventura, let's get to making over your car. So, the first thing I'm going to do is drill out those posts, separate all the parts, and then start deciding what I'm going to do with this build. I started out thinking I'd do this in the Herbie theme, you know, the white beetle, number 53 with the red and white stripes, but then I thought, maybe let's try and do something a little bit different because that's a little bit of a cliche. So let's see how we went with the process. Anyway, here's the paint stripping gel, and I dropped the car in there and I had a bit of trouble fishing it out again, but eventually I did get it, and then I time-lapsed it. So what you're looking at now is 12 hours of video footage crammed into approximately 12 seconds. Always better to leave that in as long as possible so it can work on that paint and make it easier for you when you pull out the toothbrush and start scraping it off. Now, one thing that I've learned with doing these little makeovers is that patience is your best tool, and I don't seem to have a very good model. So all I can do is file away at mine, and hopefully sometime in the future I'll have it worked down to what it should be. And talking about working things down to where they should be, I work on the casting lines and imperfections in the shell using the Scotch-Brite wheels, hardest to softest of course, and that gives you a really nice surface once you're done. Then I pull out the metal polish. I use Autosol because it's got an abrasive inside it which helps to smooth down the surface even further, and it polishes it up at the same time. And I found that after starting to use this, I've got better results out of the cars that I've done than the ones that I've done previously. So it really does pay dividends, taking a little bit of extra time to polish it up with this. And then after that, you're ready for primer and paint. So while I waited for the paint to dry, I robbed this poor Chevy Bel Air of its wheels and axles and the light bar on its front grille. I thought that these big chunky wheels would be a much better option for this car considering what the final product was that I was aiming for. I also did some work on the other parts. The base was painted black, the interior was already black but I accented it with some silver paint, and I cut up an inside of a pen for those two massive exhaust tips, and that's what it looks like without the shell, and I think that's looking pretty good. Now I decided to make this car a two-tone, and I've tried this before and it was an absolute disaster. So I've watched a few other channels, picked up on some really good tips, and I've used them this time around. So hopefully what I've learned is going to pay off. I also made myself some very simple decals. I can't really make anything very complex and intricate because my printer just does not have the ability to print the fine stuff, and it really comes out shoddily. But these little guys, I think those look pretty good, and once they're on, I think they'll look really, really nice with the clear coat on top of them. So there's my little ants. And this was the part that I was the most worried about, taking off the masking tape, because the last time I'd done this, I'd pulled off all of the paint right down to the bare metal. So I was really careful to do this, and I really took a long time doing it too. You'll see that I used the little blade here to make sure that I'm not pulling off anything that shouldn't be coming off, and like I said earlier, I had to be really patient, and it was a really slow process for me to try to get this done properly, and I'm really glad that I did it as slow as I did because it really turned out much better than what I had anticipated. And now with that paint job done, it's time to add the little ant face decals onto the crawler. Let's get going with that. What I did a little bit later as well was I added a 06 decal onto the back of the Beetle to show that this was my 6th car build. Yep, that's another idea stolen from Maple Leaf Customs. Sorry, Andrew. Well, with those done and the clear coats on, let's reveal Bertie C. Ventura's crawler.